Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's the Comics Code Authority. We are back. And as always, I am joined by my lovely, scrumptious, delicious, handsome, and flavorful homeboys. Fellas, please introduce yourselves, starting with the birthday boy, Elvis.
Thank you, thank
Oh,
you.
we got a birthday boy. Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, it was last Tuesday, but it's been a while since
Oh,
we did
happy
one of these.
belated. Happy belated, man.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun, man. Reading comics. A friend got me Sandman Mystery Theater, the new compendiums, and I
Nice.
gotta say, my first compendium. I think DC has a winner on their hands with this format here. They're like omnibuses, but they're like nice, like not a lot of panel loss or
Okay,
crease
okay.
loss, gutter loss. I mean, and they have they're like reading an omnibus without like the heft. Like I
Yeah.
can carry it
Uh,
around. It's heavy. It's heavy paperback, but like
mhm.
I feel like it's more maneuverable. So I might look into some other compendiums they've done. I know they've done Sweet Tooth. I know they've done Starman. Fingers crossed for some more of those. But thank you.
Did you drink a little something?
Nah, man, it was a Tuesday, but
Oh, I got you, though. It's all good. All right, AJ, what about you, man?
Did I read much? I don't think I read too much anything this week, but I've been good. Good to be back. Wait, I lied. Supermassive was this week, wasn't it? Or was that last week?
Last
Shit,
week.
last week. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I haven't read much of anything this week. It's been kind of hectic, but yeah, good to be here. Saw, of course, Spiderverse a couple times this week. This weekend, I should say. I was supposed to go again this morning, but that fell through. So good to talk about some things with my guys.
All right. Yeah. I also didn't read anything this week. It was a light week, so if it's a light week, I just wait till the following week, so I can
Hmm.
just pick up everything in bulk. But I do have the Captain Marvel omnibus waiting for me at the shop.
Yeah, that
Um,
came for me too this weekend.
yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I just ordered the Ahmed's Miles Morales omnibus, so I'm looking forward to that, and I think it's coming out in August.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
But other than that, stuff that I've read, kind of just like the usual, Green Arrow, Superman. I'm still reading through Supermassive. I just need to sit down and fucking read it because it's a hefty comic. But so far I'm
Hmm.
enjoying it. Clearly, I've missed out a lot.
You
Um,
got to get on Rogue Sun, brother.
I do, I do. Um, but yeah, yeah, not yeah, kind of just the usual. And yeah, I'm excited to be here, man. We have like a lot of movies to fucking talk about. But yeah, also just echoing the happy birthday, man. Elvis, happy you're still here with us, brother. Like I said, the Comics Code Authority, it's not it's not what I can't do without Elvis, and I can't do without AJ. You're a big component, to this thing. Appreciate you, brother. I said this before on the timeline, but I have utmost respect for you. You know your takes. You don't give a fuck. You say what you say, and you stand on that. And I know we clash sometimes, but I like it when we clash because you challenge me. I'm not afraid to challenge you, and it makes for good content. And yeah, man, like you make this game fun. I'm not in the game, without y'all and Elvis, in particular. But appreciate you, brother. And yeah, man, let's keep rocking. So we're gonna start off with the first movie. We're not talking comic book news. We just going straight to movies because we got like 3 movies to talk about. So first up, yo, let's get right into it. Fast X. Fast
Okay.
X.
I
You
I
you
had to
want to take the
say
lead, brother? Birthday boy, want to take the lead?
I'll take the lead because this is what I hoped Fast Nine was gonna be, like to the T. Like I was Fast Nine, I wasn't expecting anything good. I was like, oh yeah, I want some dumb fun stuff, and Fast Nine wasn't dumb fun. It was just dumb annoying.
Mm.
It was grating. It was insulting. This is just like peak cornball, like cheese. Overall, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it compared to it's so much tethered to parts of the franchise I don't like. Everyone's like, "Oh man, 4, 5, and 6 are so good." No, they're not. I think they're terrible. A varying degrees of terrible, and this definitely draws heavily from 4, 5, and 6. And there's some parts of this that I think are very bad, and you can tell like there was stuff going on behind the scenes. I know Justin Lin, he walked away from the production and they rewrote the script, and you can tell because there's moments that don't make sense, or that
Mm-hmm.
just feel like they were like hastily rewritten or written out of the story. And so like similarly to another movie we have on our hands today, it feels like a first part. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a complete movie. But what we do see, I think, is very earnest, very sincere, and a lot of fun. I think Jess Momoa does a fantastic job. I think
Yes.
all the cast does a fantastic job. I even like Cypher this time around because it's not like she's not taking the forefront. So even though I don't like Cypher as a character, I do think that Charlize Theron is able to do a good job with the presence. Like Charlize Theron is a good actress. She has a lot of presence, and so like
Mm-hmm.
having her like be there in the room with these characters, like she's able to like bring some gravitas to the role instead of being like, oh, I'm hacking into the mainframe. Oh, like no, please. They didn't give her anything like that, and she's able to just be like a dominating figure, And I like that's
Mm-hmm.
good. That's good stuff. Um, and I do. It makes me excited for what's going to happen next. And I'm glad that like the third weekend around was a lot better than the second weekend. Um, so this has legs, and I'm glad that we're gonna get like the next one. So, oh, and I see that you put the Return of the Rock. Hated the end, hated post credit. No, I was forgot. I was so high on like what was good. I forgot what was terrible. I love the climax of this movie, but I hate both endings. I hate the very end, and I hate the post credits.
Mm.
I like okay, like whole thing with like Dom and like the showdown at the Hoover Dam. Like it's like this is like intense. This is one of the best action scenes in the entire franchise. It's like I'm on my edge of my seat. I was like, where is this gonna go? This movie only has like 5 minutes left. This is insane. I thought there were like three different times where I'm like convinced that someone's gonna die. Um
Mm-hmm.
and like this like it would have been like so earned because of how the flow of the action was. Like this is I was so enthused, and then like if it had cut off there with like the wave and Dante gloating, if it had just gone to the credits there, perfect ending for part one. And then with then we get like all that shit with Gal Gadot, who was not good and was never good. I'm sorry, but her and
Well,
and her and Han never had any chemistry. I never believed for 1 second that he would be like, "Oh man, I gotta go to Tokyo to mourn this person." I like they have no chemistry at all in any of the
he
films they
went to
were.
Tokyo to run through bodies, bro. He was a whore.
He was a whore. He was hanging around the brothels and the bathhouses. We saw Tokyo Drift. Uh, but and then at insult to injury, we had Hobbs back. I'm like, he had to come crawling back. I wish there was Black Adam too. He'd be too busy for this. But yeah, I gotta give it like I don't know, like a 7, 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. AJ, did you see it?
Man, I am still catching up with Fast 9. I'm about a third of the way through that. I started watching that this weekend. But I will say, I love that the Fast and the Furious franchise is now becoming the unofficial home for DC refugees.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
like Gal
true.
is back, uh, Hobb, Dwayne is back. I need Jason Momoa is in this one. Fuck it, go all in. The villain for the next one can be Cavill and Ezra
Oh,
Miller. Just lean
ugh.
all into it. The Fast is stupid and pulpy, and man, just go all in on meta commentary. The whole goddamn Justice League is gonna be in the Fast and Furious as the villains for the finale, and I would love it 100%.
Yo, I'd even peep that until you just mentioned it. Yeah, that's right. We do got Gal. We got Hawk, Jason Momoa. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be mad if they brought in Ben Affleck. You know what? Fuck it. Why not? He's also not really Batman anymore. So fuck it. Why not? Let's
And they
Do
want
it.
they want that Elon Musk villain for part two or something, right? So I mean, let's get him in.
let's
Lean all in on it, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that's the way to
And
go.
I'm shocked. Like I kind of with all this stuff about like Fadil saying, "Oh, there's gonna be a trilogy," but now people are saying that the Hobbs spinoff is gonna be part of that trilogy. It's supposed to be Fast X, Hobbs, Fast X Part Two as a trilogy, and it's all up in the air. But I was surprised that him saying that, like, oh, I want the main villain to be like a guy who has who has AI cars that fight Dom and everything. Um, I thought that was like a last minute thing, and that like the trilogy he was talking about, like, oh, they're thinking about it. He wanted to extend it. It came up in his mind. He wanted to do a new movie for it. But then in this one, there's a line about it with Aquaman, not Dante, not Jason Momoa, the other guy who played Aquaman on CW, Alan Richardson.
Oh yeah.
Right, he's like, huh, you guys drive cars, AI cars are gonna take you out of a job, right, someday. and like that's so clear set, like so like it's fun that they were actually planting the seeds, and I really hope they do it. I haven't given up on my John Henry theory, and this is gonna end like him like facing down racing an AI car, like John Henry versus machine. He steal driving man. So I don't know.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I had fun with this one. I had fun.
Yeah, comment there. Tevye
Oh,
saying
hold on.
Fast X was so disappointing. I would agree normally, but let's be honest. 8, 9, 4, 6 were all shit. So this was like upper echelon of the series by comparison.
So we got some other comments here too. We got Jashido Brown. I'm dodging Spiderverse spoiler, so dropping in to say it was good and be easy. I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, we're gonna get to Spiderverse like at the end. We're saving that for the end. But I appreciate you stopping by. And Tevye said, I'm so happy Across the Spider-Verse is a complete success. He says, I love Spider-Verse. I love Across the Spider-Verse movie. It was really awesome and tons of fun. Yeah, don't worry. We'll get to those later. But appreciate you guys for popping by. Thank you. But yeah, back to Fast X. Yeah, this is the most I've enjoyed Fast and Furious since Furious 7, honestly. And I've said this, with Elvis on his stream, and I've said it here as well. Just like, if we ended at 7 or if we ended at 5, I wouldn't have been mad, because I think those are two distinct endings and they're both great jumping off points. I thought 8 was horrible and I thought 9 was underwhelming as shit. So I went into this with low expectations, very low expectations. And hey, I was surprised. Jason Momoa fucking stole the show. I love his like flamboyant / like wild, reckless, like psychotic character. Like every time he was on screen, I was smiling. Like I was like, yo, this was a good choice. And honestly, Momoa was, I feel like he was just playing himself. And that's what I enjoyed the most. Like I feel like he's not acting. This is literally just like him fucking around with Vin, and it worked. Like I enjoyed it. I really like that I did not hate Cypher this time around. Like I feel like they took a lot of the criticisms, mainly probably the ones that we had, on this podcast, and they reworked Cypher to where she's not really in front and center, but how she is utilized is interesting. She bounced off well off Letty. I thought they had a great chemistry together, because again, it was just most of them, in the cut in their own section of the movie. I really enjoyed Brie Larson's character. I keep Tess, is it? I believe her name is. I enjoyed her character. Honestly, I
forgot she was in the movie until you just mentioned her right now.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like this is the sexiest I've ever found Brie Larson. That's not to say Brie Larson is not sexy, but god damn.
They to be fair, they downplay her sexiness in a lot of her movies. Like I think it's like Scott Pilgrim and this, that she's been allowed to be like really sexy. Other times,
Brie been cold for years, bro. Like, yeah. I don't know why folk don't play it up.
Nah, like I was like, yo, I said this on the timeline, bro. If you watched Fast X and you are still on that fuck Brie Larson is ugly, I was like, bro, listen, at this point, I'm convinced your entire persona is just dick riding rage bait YouTubers, because they ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. Like she was gorgeous in this movie. And honestly, as for the story, I thought it was solid, but at the same time, I thought it was a little bit bloated at the same time too. I felt like it was a lot of things going on. like the way how they were kind of bouncing around, just
A
like
lot of things,
revisit.
a lot of things don't end up mattering at all.
Yeah, like they bounced around to like a lot of the different aspects of the Fast universe stuff from like the previous movies. Like I thought that was a great callback, in some areas, but at the same time too, I felt like it kind of dragged the movie. Like I'm gonna be consistent here. Like I gave Endgame a lot of shit for that, and I'm gonna give Fast X shit for that too. But overall, I was engaged. I feel like also they did a great job of kind of just like poking fun at itself, and that same vein too. Like I do like how they kind of play with us a little bit because one of the main critiques, I'm pretty sure we had that as well. It's just like it's getting to a point where it's kind of samey. You guys have a villain, and then you guys bring the villain into the family, and then all of a sudden it's rinse and repeat. They had me convinced for a little bit that was the case, but the ending where it's like, oh, we're just fucking with you guys. No, this guy's he ain't with y'all. I thought that was cool. Again, it's clear that they're paying attention, to some of the criticisms as well. Um, and honestly, I'm here for what may be coming. Like I would prefer it if we don't have a trilogy. Honestly, like if you guys already had a clear plan to end at whatever number, then keep it at that. Like please, just keep it at that. I think when you try to stretch it out a little bit more, that's when you get into tricky territory. So that's my only thing here. But yeah, I really had fun with this. I ended up coming around to John Cena's character, which I didn't think I would enjoy. I feel like in was it Fast Nine, John Cena was kind of trying to, you know, take on a different role, and it really didn't come across as well. But I feel like kind of the same thing with Jason Momoa. It's just like, okay, dude, just play into your strengths. If you want to be John Cena, be fucking John Cena. That's fine. It's working for Jason Momoa, and I enjoyed that. The mid credit scene or the post credit scene, I did not see that coming. But also at the same time too, I joked around with Elvis, and I think it was with Mikhail as well. It's just like, yo, it would be dope if at the end of it all we see the fucking Rock, just coming down the fucking hill, and it's a big reunion, and it happened. It looks like it's gonna happen. So cool, happy about that. But yeah, I'm kind of iffy on it, on the Rock having his own solo movie. Why don't you just do Hobbs and Shaw? Because Hobbs and people liked Hobbs and Shaw. I thought Hobbs and Shaw was all right. So why not? So I don't know. Maybe that was one of the stipulations of him coming back. But either way, I'm here for it, man. Like
Wouldn't it be
I left.
funny if it
What's up?
bombs like hell?
I mean,
He's box office poison. What was the opposite of
That is
Viagra?
a possibility with The Rock right about now.
yeah.
He is
So
on
again,
his rebrand tour, and I don't know if it's gonna work out the way he thinks it is because the what was the Disney movie live action they announced of
Moana.
yeah I with the way that these live action things are going right now, I don't even know if Disney's gonna go in on that, so that might be another thing that he misses out on. So I don't know, man.
yeah.
The
I mean
Rock got some work to do, bro.
and that's why I'm saying just do Hobbs and Shaw too, because at least then you have Jason Momoa, not Jason Momoa, Jason Statham to play off of. At least then,
Right.
and people like that dynamic. I was a little iffy on it at first, but after I watched it the first time, I was like, you know what, this ain't so bad. And clearly, people want it. Like people keep asking about it, so I think that's the more logical decision. But again, at the same time too, I think this is kind of just like The Rock, kind of trying to make his own little thing into an existing universe. It's like, come on, bro, can we just play along with people this time around,
And where
please?
have we seen The Rock do that exact same thing before?
Mm-hmm.
Fast and Furious.
Yes, this is his second time doing
yeah,
it in Fast and Furious.
yeah,
He is responsible for two universes basically resetting at this point, guys.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Like,
I again, another
huh.
Kevin comment. Hobbs and Shaw was super underrated. I hate The Rock, but I do love Hobbs and Shaw. I think as its own buddy comedy action film, it's really
Mhm.
good. I just think that Hobbs, the character in the main series, is overrated as hell. Oh, he was so good in Fast X. No, he wasn't. He could have been played by any actor, probably much better than The Rock plays him. Okay, and then he's unbearable in 6, 7, and 8. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it was barely around in 7, honestly.
Yeah, but he gets that stupid scene where he breaks out his cans. Like, oh man, this shows these movies are so good and so funny that like it's a bad scene. It's not even a good joke. But Hobbs and Shaw is okay. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's all just do that, because here's the logical thing, right? It's like if The Rock is on his redemption tour, it would make sense to do Hobbs and Shaw too. Again, you can work off of Jason Statham, and then you can kind of build that good grace back, because again, it's already established. And again, let's keep it a fat stack. Part of the reasons why some of them we even had this big split in the middle of these movies is because Hobbs and Shaw was a thing. So just fucking go with it. You harmed the franchise by branching out on your own. Now you want to branch out on your own even more. It's counterproductive to me. It's like, come on, guys. The logic is right there. But still, overall, man, I'm here for it. I really enjoyed what is it, Brian, Lil Dom. He was just a delight in this movie, man. Like
Uh,
I had so much fun with him on screen.
you know
And
what,
what's up?
bro? They gotta kill Paul Walker off because they keep calling him Little B. So but they can't call him Brian because they had to keep calling him Little B because Brian's still around. But
Yeah,
okay, I got enough of it. Okay, Little B is the name of a comic strip character in the Sunday papers. Okay, you just call him Brian because you're not gonna have actually Paul Walker on. Like, where's Brian? Oh, he's on his way to the safe house. Okay, I wonder what his adventure is like. I guess Dante has no plans for him.
yeah,
Everyone else had their own Joker manipulation plan. Like, oh, see, he wanted them to be on the plane, and it was all part of his 3D chess. But Brian's like, oh, he's just driving down the highway to the safe house, and that's his movie. That's
yeah.
what
That's
he's doing.
literally. Oh, but yeah, I enjoyed him. He was a delight. I think he flowed well. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, I enjoyed him and John Cena's scenes together. Like that was so wholesome, man. Like it was like their own little side story. It was fun. It was cute. And yeah, it was great. And I really enjoyed, like the other characters as well, like Han, Tez, Roman. Fun. The only thing, actually, I don't even think it's a knock at this point. I think I can let go of the Justice for Han stuff. It's he's here. Um, I really wish we kind of stuck with that a little bit more though. Like that was such a lingering plot that that's something people wanted, and I feel like we could have delved a little bit more into that. Maybe cut out some of the bouncing around the different parts of the Fast universe
I
and
wonder if that's why Lynn left. Because
mm,
um Fast Nine does set up a little more. Justice is coming, so it's supposed to be set up for it. But then this movie it just kind of gets it out of the way immediately. Oh, it's a joke, it's a gag, it's still a little comedy. He misunderstands the situation. They're all good. Fish underwater. Let's move on. I feel like maybe that's something that maybe Lynn was like, nah, man, this is
yeah.
because Han's his baby,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I can see why he wouldn't want to stick around if they just didn't want to have anything to do with that.
Yeah, and then it's like also too. Then I have to play this card also. Then I mean, what's the fucking point? Well, then what's the point then? Like if that's what you were gonna do, that's what it's feeling like to me now.
And then,
But
again,
who
it
knows?
makes Fast Nine even worse. You know,
Yeah, because then you have, but then again, also like we have another movie possibly too. Then is there still time for them to do something with that, or not? Because I feel like if we don't do anything with that, then yeah, that's gonna be a it's gonna be a stain on that record, because again, that was such a big movement. Like I remember me and you, Elvis, we spoke about Fast 8, and how much of a slap in the face that was. But now after he's back, you already gave us a kind of like a BS explanation on how he's back. And then now when you finally have him confronting Shaw, it's just like, oh, okay. Like,
Oh man,
no.
it's so good when we get to Fast X Part Two, and we see like how Mr. Nobody helped the gel like transport a mile away, and like I'm okay, okay, good. Here you got to go into hiding, protect another special child, super spy parents or some shit. It's gonna happen again, and like why does
Yeah.
gel need to be around W- at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of which, also, like I kind of like that mystery of where the fuck did Mr. Nobody go. I like that, and I hope when he does come back, it's something like pretty cool. Because again, that's like two. This is two movies now, in a sense where we haven't seen much of him. So I hope when he comes back, that weaves into the whole story plot well, and it helps give us that grand conclusion. But also too, Giselle coming back, I did not see that coming at all. I didn't think it would happen, but you know, there's a lot of I'm ready to go back and forth with others on this, or even you, AJ. Like we didn't really see her hit the ground. She just got taken out of the airplane. But you can
The
also
plane
make
was
the
barely
argument.
off the ground, so it's not, you know, unbelievable that she survived. That was never an issue to me.
Yeah. So again, like I'm happy she's back. I wasn't expecting it. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I kind of wish I watched this twice in theaters because I could only watch it when I got to Vegas, and then you had to do other shit. But yeah, I think I'm gonna catch like another rip of this online somewhere and rewatch it again because this is good, man. This is good. My faith in the franchise is restored, and and I like that this was more self-aware about itself, but it wasn't anything that took away. Like it's having fun with the fans and having fun with itself. And yeah, I don't know, I could go on and on, but overall, I'm giving this like now that I'm talking about it, I'm gonna give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I feel like it may go up when I rewatch it again. So yeah, that's my thing, man. So I don't know how do you guys think the Fast series will end on a high note? Do you think we'll be satisfied, or should it be a case of let's keep expectations low and we'll see what happens?
I don't think I'll ever be satisfied with where the
Mm,
series is gone. I think too much stuff I don't like has become important to the series. But
mm,
if Fast X is as good as this one, I'll be like, you know what? It was fun. I'm glad it lasted as long as it did.
yeah, same. Yeah. What about you,
Um,
AJ? I know you still have yet to finish nine.
yeah, I think it's possible. I don't think this franchise is going to end. Well, franchises really don't end these days, period. But Universal is hurting a bit for money, so and Fast seems to be a consistent earner for them. I know there's a little talk about this one possibly not doing as well financially as they had hoped, but it's still probably going to clear 750, $800 million. Like that's a bag I don't know if Universal can allow to just go away.
Mm,
So, especially with Nolan over there now, he had some ridiculous ask for his stuff to agree to come over there. So they're not going to make a ton of money off his films. They're going to need a big time earner. Fast seems to be it. So I don't see it ending, but I can definitely see it getting to a point of diminishing returns as far as fan enjoyment. Like it's like
yeah.
okay, maybe we need to step away for a bit. Like they're still talking about the spin-off with the all females
I thought that
characters
was
from the
that was a
cast.
while ago.
I thought what was it? That actress Michelle who plays Letty and Dwayne Johnson. I thought they put out like a IG video or something talking about it moving forward. Maybe I'm
Oh,
wrong. But that the Hobbs spinoff, um, now stretching this what was supposed to be two films out into three. I have to wonder: are we ever going to get to a point where it's just like, all right, this is too much Fast and Furious?
yeah.
Maybe I think they should do this, and instead of just jumping right back in, wait like 10 years until
Yeah.
you do the next one. Let Dom's son have grown up a bit. You can kind of hand the franchise off to whoever's going to play him, and you can kind of bring the stakes maybe back down a little bit, which
Hmm.
sounds kind of crazy for this franchise, but yeah, um, I don't know. I can see my mind is in two different places with this. I'm looking at it from a business perspective, as you know, the suits they not gonna want that money train to stop.
Hmm.
But from a creative standpoint, you know, you're stretching this thing mighty thin at this point. I don't know how much more you can do. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think right now that's why I say go for Hobbs and Shaw, because at least then, you have two powerhouses who have pretty good chemistry together. And, I think if you write a compelling story, especially for a sequel, which should be the next step, you could kind of stretch things a little more. Kind of. Then again, you could give them that could be its own franchise within the Fast and Furious franchise. And yeah, fine, sure. But I think beyond that, yeah, I think talks about a trilogy. I agree, it's gonna stretch things thin a little bit. Um, but yeah, I don't know what else they can do. I don't know if that all female thing is actually gonna happen. Who knows though? But who knows? But I feel like I feel like it kind of like the compromise for that, because I don't think it'll happen. Is just like you can see it here, especially in the last two movies. Like the ladies are getting more screen time. They're getting more prominent roles. They're just not, kind of just like generic eye candy. Like, they're really throwing down. Also, they did greenlight a fucking Cypher spinoff. Like, is that still gonna move forward? Do people want to see a Cypher spinoff? Who knows? But yeah, it's up in the air. But I think also too, after the last movie, or the second to last movie, whenever it ends, give it time to cool off. Give it time. Give like a couple years. And then if you wanna, yeah, reboot it. And yeah, if you want, you can pull from the existing lore. You can bring back certain actors, but yeah, let's do it. But right now, I think the smart move is let's end it. Let's end it on a high note. You guys have racked in a shit ton of money. It's become like a cultural thing now, and people are accepting of it. And yeah, man, let's end on a high note. Not everything needs to be milked dry, because we're seeing the ramifications of franchises being milked dry. And the next movie we'll talk about.
And I also want to bring this up.
Mhm.
No one watched the cartoon.
Yeah, or played the video game.
There was a
Remember,
video game.
there was a video game
What the
like
fuck?
2 years ago.
Jesus Christ.
See, I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about a video game.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
It did not receive good reviews. It was a movie tie-in game supposedly.
Oh Lord,
Um,
are we going back to the '90s and early 2000s now? Movie tie-in games?
Yeah, I remember seeing something where it's just like, yeah, this takes place in between, but again, you can tell it's something they were throwing out there, because I don't think any of the actors or actresses spoke about the video game at all.
Mm.
And then it came out, and it came and went. I guess that's the best way to fucking put it. But yeah, the video game didn't make any noise. Yeah, that's it. I think the only thing outside of the main franchise that sparked some noise was Hobbs and Shaw. Like that's it. That's it. So I think they got to play their cards right, and who knows. Um, I'm okay with it dying and then it coming back. That's where I land on it. And again, I hope this Rock spinoff is literally just Hobbs and Shaw too, and this is like a sick troll, because I don't want to see a Hobbs movie. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't mind the Rock, but I don't want to see a Hobbs movie. I would
you,
watch Hobbs and Shaw
you know
over
what I
that.
think? I think that
What's
like
up?
people are saying that like this is like even Rock. I think I said like this isn't gonna be Hollow Shaw Part Two, but like they're gonna have to do the Shaw stuff somewhere, right? Are they gonna like backload that Shaw stuff in Fast X Part 2, because you got like,
Mm,
what was he doing? Like, I gotta go protect my mother, and he leaves, and there's still an hour movie left. So what was he doing? You know.
yeah.
So like, I feel like what would be cool is that the Hobbs movie was like the Hobbs and Shaw, but it wasn't really. So you just saw like both their subplots, and they don't really interact, but like you get both stories. I
Ooh.
I think would be really cool because I don't want part two of Fast X to be like overloaded like this one was. I want that to be like, let's pay things off.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. And speaking of like paying things off, I know I gave Fast Nine a lot of shit for their usage of the Tokyo Drift characters, but if they can make it work, I would like to see them back and done better. Because again, I think a lot of the things from Fast Nine was done a little bit better here in Fast 10, and I need to see some type of payoff for those guys. Like don't end it with that. Come on, man. Don't do Tokyo Drift like that. Give me give me something where I can feel satisfied because I wasn't satisfied with what we got with them. Like it was very out of I think yeah, out of character, missing plot holes, no explanations. Like, give me something. But yeah, overall, like I said, I enjoyed this. Can't wait to watch it again, and we'll see what happens with the fate of the Furious. Literally, I know it's a movie title, but yeah, we'll see what happens with the fate of the Fast and Furious franchise. I mean, before we leave, let's see here. Steph, appreciate you coming through, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, so are we ready to move on to Guardians, guys?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Whoops.
Let
Well,
y'all two
that's
handle
not
that. That's another one I haven't seen as of yet, but
all
I
right.
can kind of vet how I think this is gonna go.
So I'll start. I thought Guardians 3 was cool, man. I enjoyed it. Um I like that Guardians number two was self-contained. It didn't really tie into anything. And this one, yeah, you did kind of have to watch, Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, but still it stayed very self-contained. I felt like it had a lot of heart. I felt like I enjoyed the Rocket story. I enjoyed seeing that. I felt like my heartstrings were tugged a little bit. And I don't know, it just felt like a very warm movie. Like and I like warm. It wasn't anything that was too crazy. And again, it was literally just like, you know, the final story with these guys. And I'll be honest, like once the ending hit and we realized, oh shit, everybody's like branching off into their own ways, I was just like, fuck, like this is it. Like this is it. But overall, like I had fun with this, man. I think it's true. I know people love to throw that shit out whenever first movie comes out. Oh, this is the best movie since Endgame. I'm gonna be honest. Like this is the this is the most thing I've enjoyed since Endgame. Like, and I'm not just saying that just to say it. Like, I'm happy James Gunn was able to come back, finish his story, finish it the way he wanted to finish it. And I don't know if you guys seen the clip circulating from Brilliant Idiots, but Andrew Schultz was explaining the story about
Yeah,
like
I saw that.
Guardians. Yeah, and when I had actually watched it after hearing it from him, I was like, yeah, this is kind of makes sense. It makes sense. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm excited that Star Lord is coming back. Obviously he's not going to be with the Guardians, and obviously we're not going to get another Guardians movie because I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can make another series with everybody all branched out with a whole new team. But I would like to see them implemented in the MCU again in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be a movie, but I would like to see where everybody ended up. Where how's the chemistry with the main team? What's happening with Star Lord. If we see the other characters, what's happening with them? But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I feel like this is honestly like the best trilogy from Marvel. The best trilogy. Like you could watch number one, you could watch number two. You can just get like the plot points from Endgame and Infinity War, and you can watch three as well, and it flows nicely. And yeah, man, I'm big sad that this is it for the team, bro. I'm big sad. Like I think James Gunn did his thing here, man. Elvis, what about you? But what do you feel about Guardians 3?
Well, I think I'm no fan of the first one. I think it's one of the most annoying MC movies ever made. The jokes aren't funny to me. I think the soundtrack is very badly used. The songs are
Mm-hmm.
good, but it just doesn't have any diegetic nature to it. All the songs feel just haphazard, except for like the two of them. And I think Volume Two is everything that the first movie wanted to be, but like actually succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
And I love number two. I think one of my favorite MC movies ever made. And part three, I think, has elements of both, where I don't really love it that much, even disregarding the stuff like, oh, we gotta think about Endgame and all the stuff that has to deal with from other films in the entire MCU franchise. I think it's fun. I enjoyed it. It got good heart, good emotions, great
Mm-hmm.
kind of powerful character core to it, Rocket. Um, but I think that is a little bit weaker because of all the things. And I do love where it leaves the characters off, but if I had to rank it, it would be like Volume Two, Volume Three, and then Volume One is somewhere near the bottom. Uh,
Okay.
I enjoy it. I think that everything with Rocket is fantastic, but I don't really care for the rest of the characters all that much.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like as a collective they work. Like I think that's what's the main thing. As a collective, they work well together. They bounce off of each other, and then when you don't have them, that's when you can kind of be like, okay, well, would I really follow a Drax story? Would I really follow a Nebula story? Would I really follow a Groot story? Well, I think Groot has his own special, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but just like I think maybe the only character whose story I would care to follow after this is Star Lord. Because again, he's kind of like I know people got their feelings about Chris Pratt, but I think he is the character that they worked on the most. And I'll even argue and say maybe I would care to follow Rocket, as well. um, but yeah, I also agree. I don't think I would. Yeah, everybody else you can kind of like take or leave. Um, but yeah, as if I was to rank it too, um, I think I would put. I think I would kind of keep it the same. Because again, like I'm all about like growth. So just like number one, I had a great time with, but like after rewatching number two, I was just like, shit, that was good. And then number three, I was like, okay, I really enjoyed it. So I think I would keep the ranking the same because just in terms of just like story, and I feel like it got better. Like I'm really happy I rewatched. I'm really happy we had that episode with Prime and CJ because yeah, I'm happy I rewatched. I'm happy I gave this a second chance because I talked so much shit about number two. I did. But when I rewatched it again, I was like, this movie has a lot of heart, a lot of emotion, and yeah, I'm really happy with this trilogy, man. And even with the other MCU stuff as well, I feel like the other MCU stuff might have hurt the other trilogies or however continuations, but I feel like this one, all you needed to know was Gamora died. And then I think that's about it. Yeah, Gamora died, and then there's a new Gamora, and you can kind of keep the story moving on. But I'm also happy about that too. I'm happy Star Lord and Gamora didn't get together. I'm happy about it. I was like, she was very clear about this is a new version. Um, don't
I'm
expect.
the thing. Right, they had more chemistry this time around than the other two movies. So like, it kind of felt kind of lame that they didn't get together this time because I'm sorry, but Chris Brown and Zoe Saldana aren't. They don't have that much chemistry in Volume One and Volume Two. I felt very forced. This one, like, okay, they're bouncing off you a little bit better. So I felt like it was
Mm,
kind of a cheap shot that they didn't get together in this movie.
and I feel like maybe one of the reasons why it didn't go that way because I feel like that's what everybody expected. But then again, sometimes to your defense, maybe this time around, maybe the expected thing was the right thing to do. But I liked it personally. I was just like, well, if they get together, I was like, well, I can see it coming, but I would prefer not. and it was like cool. And you never know, we can see these characters in a different movie, they may come back for whatever reason, and then they get together something, some way, somehow things happen and they get together. So it's the verdict is still out there. We never know, because as we know with these comic book movies, the story is never really over. um but yeah, I really don't know what else to say besides the fact that I enjoyed this. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Like, it's, I feel like James Gunn came in and, he made something big out of a group of characters who people really weren't paying attention to. And now look at where we are. And it's even bleeding into the fucking comics. Like, people fucking love the Guardians again in the comic books, thanks to Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing. But yeah, I think the Guardians are in a good place. And I think this was a good swan song for James Gunn. Like, he's like, this is his, hey, I'm done. Peace out. Whatever happens, happens. And if he ends up working with some of these guys again, I would love to see it. If not, you at least you can say we did something great here. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's about it for Guardians, man. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, that's the thing with like something that's so okayly good. It's hard to say much about it. Like, I guess if you wanted to take this further, I think that the High Evolutionary is a fantastic villain. I think it's one of the most
Mm,
intense villains that the franchise, again, the MCU as a whole, ever had. I think that Rocky Raccoon is maybe one of the best characters, probably one of the best written characters James has ever done, especially in these movies. Um, and I think that there is a lot of catharsis there, and I really dug how nasty this movie was willing to go, because it does get really
yeah.
nasty at points. Like, this is some cool shit. I'm glad it's
Yeah,
not
and
afraid.
yeah, and I feel like I think there was some concern about, just how graphic they were getting, but that's what I like about it also. Like, it didn't get too crazy with, how things were depicted, but it was enough to make you feel something. It was enough to make you feel like, oh, this is fucked up. This is wrong. This ain't cool. And it didn't have to go too deep, but you still felt something in it. And I also agree about the High Evolution. I was like, God damn, they mean business over here. So again, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Um, as for, I think since they said Star Lord is coming back, so do you think it will be in like a Disney Plus series or an actual movie, or do you think it'll just be, we'll see him pop up in like Avengers or something? What do you guys think? Because
Probably pop
again,
up in
Chris,
Avengers, because like
oh, okay.
who wants to see a Star Lord solo movie? Who really does? I'm sorry, Chris Pratt. I don't hate on his performance as much as everyone else, but he's just not that interesting an actor.
Mm, that's fair.
I don't want to see
Same.
I don't want to see
I
him
don't.
headline anything.
Yeah, I don't see him having a movie or show of his own. He'll show up in what Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty probably, or maybe only one. Who knows? But yeah, and also he's kind of got walked right into having another franchise. Mario is huge right now, so
Oh yeah.
um, yeah, he might not have time for too much MCU stuff going forward.
Man, I completely fucking forgot about that. But yeah, I also agree. I think we'll just see him in a cameo, pop up, do his usual thing, and then yeah, be out. But yeah, I'm not mad at it. And if there's anybody who was gonna come back, it obviously was gonna be him. But yeah, I think not much else to say. This is one of the times where I could clap, man. I can really clap. I think this is great. Now I know for sure in the next like couple months, I'm gonna sit down and I'm rewatching all three of these movies again, and I think it's gonna hit even harder. I'm not gonna lie, I teared up, guys. I teared up towards the end. I did, and I don't think I've ever like teared up for an MCU movie ever. Yeah, have I? No, no. So good fucking job there. But yeah, I think we could leave this one alone. Whatever happens with these characters is whatever happens with these characters. But you know what, y'all? It's time. It's fucking time. Let's fucking talk about Spider-Verse, y'all. Wait, can I? Oh, motherfucker. Goddamn. Can I? Thank you. Finally. Spider-Verse. I watched it last night. Um, who wants to take Elvis? You want to?
Yeah,
Actually, AJ. Wait.
yeah.
Let AJ. Let's let AJ take the lead here. Let's let AJ take the lead.
All right. Like I said, I've seen it twice now. First off, full stop. I fucking love it. Um, I had it above Across the Spider Verse. I'm going back and forth now because I just watched Across again last night. But it's like 9-5, 9-7. It's like those two duking it out for me. Um, the things that they were able to do with the animation in this one, not that the animation in Across the Spider Verse is still fucking phenomenal. But if you
Mhm.
go back and
AJ,
watch
it's
it,
into. It's into.
yeah, shit, thank you. The animation in Into the Spider Verse is phenomenal. Still, you go back and watch it right after this one. Not that it makes it seem bad, but you see how much it's progressed in just what 4.5 years time.
Mhm.
That was really really interesting to me. Just thinking about how much time, how much man hours went into that. But all right, into the actual movie itself. Um, like I said, I loved it. I knew going into it that we were kind of going to get the cliffhanger. We're doing spoilers, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. 100%.
Okay. Okay. I knew we were going to get the cliffhanger ending at the end. Um, they kind of folks have been saying, hey, it's kind of got the Empire vibe, Two Towers vibe, Twin Towers vibe. Jesus Christ. I'm guessing that the New York connections had me thinking of the Two Towers in New York.
Hmm.
Lord of the Rings, the Twin Towers. You get the vibe from that at the end. You get the vibe from Empire. I didn't know how I was going to feel about them propping up Gwen's story more, because a lot of it is in the beginning is retread from her introduction into the Spider Verse. You just get more
Hmm.
in depth with that, but I thought that was handled really really well. And like you said, they basically made Gwen she's the co-lead of this movie. Before it was more ensemble thing.
Hmm.
Miles is still your lead, but she's right there as far as screen time, presence, importance to the story. Um, Another thing is you get like how many just seeds they laid in the first one, which is what when you're playing a franchise, you should be doing this.
Hmm.
But it's so many little things that you pick up on watching it, like the Spot talking to I'm the guy you hit with the bagel. We're tied together at the hip for the rest of our lives. You created me, I created you. Um, he's like, you were never supposed to be Spider-Man in this universe. And it's like, if I don't know if y'all picked up on it, did you the little montage where he was giving Spot was telling him about, that spider was taken from universe 42.
Yeah.
Did y'all realize that spider was about to bite
Yes.
somebody? Right. So
Hmm.
it shows like how it just changed the
Hmm.
trajectory of Miles's entire path. That universe that no longer has a Spider-Man, it was never going to bite Peter Parker in that universe. It was going to bite Miles, and it's kind of like mirrors his I guess his relationship had Uncle Aaron never died in his universe. You'd have had to reverse, right?
Hmm.
Um Miles in 1610, he would be the new Prowler. Miles in Universe 42 would have been Spider-Man, and in 1610 Spider-Man would still be here. You have to wonder how that is going to come into effect in the next one. Like they gave you a very clear, hey, we're gonna have the bad guys win at the end of this. And
Hmm.
I was talking with my dad at the end of this. He was like, Miles is the Han Solo of at the end of like Empire Strikes Back. You know, he gets frozen in carbonite. He
Mm.
gets jacked. He's off in another place, and now the good guys got to get the crew together to go save him. But at the end of it, you realize if you sit back and think about it, the good guys lost here.
Yep.
No one won
Um,
here because nothing happens in the end. This movie has no ending. No one won. No one lost. Okay.
No, it's absolutely an ending because
No, it's not.
it's a yes, it sets up the Spider War.
It's an ending in the sense that the movie ends like all things must technically, but it's no ending. It's just like the next one probably you could. It's like if I just like Sopranos, like that's an ending, yeah. And but at least Sopranos that's not fair. Sopranos because Sopranos does have an ending because of like Tony dies and everything. It doesn't have an ending. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Let me ask you one thing. And this might change whether you feel not it's an ending or not. Um, when Miles is getting into the device to send him back to his universe,
That was so stupid because like
did they hold on? I
we
want
see
to
it
ask
like
you something
big
first
on the
before you get
screen.
to it.
Universe
Let him finish.
42.
Let him
And
finish.
no, no,
Let
no.
him finish. Let him
I was
finish.
just
No, because
gonna ask you. I was about to ask you.
what if what
Did,
I have to say invalidates what he's gonna say? Because like we see it big on the screen, like 42, and then the movie spends
mhm.
like 15 more minutes being like, oh, but where is he? Like, no, we just saw it on the fucking screen. It says 42. Okay, we saw it on the screen.
But
It's the
I was gonna
giant
ask you
screen. It's the
because
giant
see
screen. It's so
everybody is thinking
stupid.
that Spider Bite worked with him and let him go. Like no, she set him up, guys.
No,
Like
I don't think Firebright set him up.
I
I
absolutely think she did. It was her
I don't.
machine.
No, I just think that's like. Again, I think Spider-Bite knew that it was the only way for him to get out of there. You think oh, Spider-Bite's working with Evil Prowler?
No, she's not working with Evil Prowler. She sets him up in the sense that they don't want Miles to break the canon event. You know,
Mm.
him getting back, being able to save his dad. She's like, hey, yeah, y'all can keep fighting, dragging this shit out, or we can just let him be sent to a universe that's not his own, and whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and
Okay,
we
now
can
that
be
you
in
now
1610
that
and
you
making
said
sure
that, now that you said that, I don't see how that like makes this any less of a non-ending.
it's it's an ending in the sense that
It ends.
they're positioned in 1610 to make sure that canon event still happens. We know it's not well.
Mhm.
I'd say we 95% know
You
that
know,
it's not going to happen.
I'm
What's that?
going to do another comparison. You mentioned Empire. You mentioned the Two Towers.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing this movie draws from is The Matrix Reloaded.
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Tevia, we see your comments. We'll get to you. All right, Elvis and AJ, keep cooking. Keep
It
cooking. Keep cooking.
is The Matrix Reloaded. Like this movie is basically The Matrix Reloaded, but with Spider-Man, it takes a whole lot for The Matrix Reloaded. Like I have to imagine that The Matrix Reloaded was a reference point for the movie in terms of like what they
For
wanted to do.
for Miguel, definitely. Yeah,
Not
I
for
can see
Neo,
that.
but also Miles. Miles is Neo. Like the thing is, right? What makes the Matrix Loaded work as a part one? Because Matrix Loaded and Resurrection Revolutions were filmed back to back. They're one script, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, is that Matrix Loaded from the onset? Neo has a goal. And he knows what that goal is, and he's contending with that question, a goal and a question of what to do, and it's very pointed. Like the very first scene is like Trinity dying. And he's like, is that going to happen? And if that does happen, what am I
Mhm.
prepared to do about it? And the entire movie is him trying to figure out like whether or not if it's going to happen, then what would the consequence be? Like, what exactly
Mhm.
am I positioned to? I have all this power, but can I prevent the future? And then the end of the movie is like he's told, like, you could, but here are the consequences. And then there's payoff to that. He makes his decision based on the question he's been presented, and he's been facing, and he's been fighting the entire film. Across the Spider-Verse, right? It's like 70% like Miles trying to get back into like Gwen's good graces. In the last 30 minutes, like this is gonna happen, and then like then he's like, okay, now in the last 20 is like him being like, okay, I'm not really happy with that news, but you don't get that same payoff. There's no payoff. He just knows about it now. But there's like one thing is that like Reloaded ends with Neo making a decision, and he makes the decision. He plants this flag in the sand, and then Revolutions is the payoff, the consequences, the aftermath of that decision. And then like in between Across and Beyond, it's gonna be like Miles still trying to, you know, do something. Like he's still trying to do something. He hasn't done something yet. He's gonna try to do it, and that's where he end up. There's no catharsis, There's no climax, as it were.
But
It just
that's
ends.
where I say the setup comes in. They set him up
Yeah, but like
by
even them
letting
setting up,
him get
like
to the wrong universe.
it's not really like it just prolongs things. That's
I'm
all.
gonna
Yeah,
be honest. I'm gonna be honest.
I love the
This
movie,
this
but like
ties into
it's not. I was unsatisfied. It's,
this ties into a little bit about how I felt about Fast X, and that's it's not a
yeah,
terrible
definitely.
knock. It's just like, um, for what we got, I enjoyed, but at the same time, also it's just like, um, I'm gonna get. This is why I like Spider-Verse a little bit more than Fast X, because I think Fast X had a lot of different like plot points happening, and then they didn't gel together as well. Then all of a sudden, the movie's over, the movie's done, and then like fuck, all right. I think Spider-Verse. I think there was a multiple stories happen. Obviously he wants to get back to good graces with Gwen. Then it's him trying to stop whatever is from happening. So and then at the end of that we get a cliffhanger. But again, I can also agree with Elvis, who was just like, this is it's not complete. So that's why I also agree with Elvis too. It's just like it's kind of hard to give it a I can give it an initial rating. You know what I'm saying? Like I can say, okay, I enjoyed this, but at the same time also just like how how the next movie plays out is how I can grade it as a
Yeah,
whole.
right.
That's
it's not completely.
yeah,
I don't feel right in ranking this or rating it at all because it's not. It's only half. I need to
yeah,
know where it comes out with. Like even Infinity War. Right, that's got a cliffhanger. I'm putting air quotes, but it's not really a cliffhanger. Thanos wins. Like he
yeah.
just wins. That's it. That's
You
the
can stop right there.
yeah, that's
You
the end
can
of the movie.
stop.
That's it. He wins, and
Yeah,
like that's it. Like that's the movie. Like because the good guys don't win doesn't mean it's a cliffhanger in the traditional sense. And then the same thing with Halloween kills. It's a cliffhanger, yeah. But like Michael Myers just wins at the end of the Halloween kills. And like it's a cliffhanger, but he just wins. And
yeah,
it's only if you go in expecting the protagonists, the heroes, to like come out on top, in the situation. This one, um, I don't know. Again, Matrix Loaded again because it's like they got the same exact fucking plot. Um, in Matrix Loaded, Neo was told by the architect, Trinity is
mhm,
gonna die, and if you don't let Trinity die, everyone's gonna
yeah,
die. In exactly the same goddamn story arc. Uh,
yeah,
but then, like Neo does, he like, you know what? Fuck it. Trinity is more important to me than everything else in the universe. And he saves her, and he saves her, and then like that's it. Like he made a decision. We see him save her. She's alive, and now we know next movie everything's fucked. And
yeah.
this one is like, if this had ended with like Miles saving his dad, and then like maybe something starts to
Lingering
happen,
in the
yeah,
background.
starts to happen around him, and like he's like, oh my god, and then it goes to the credits. I think that would be more satisfying because you would have gone past what the obvious next 30 minutes of the first of Beyond is going to be. The first 30 minutes of Beyond is going to be like him escaping from, evil Miles and then saving his dad, and then the rest of that movie. So like it just feels like that's going to be something we're going to have to like have lingering from
Yeah,
across the Spider-Verse.
I feel like also, I don't know, maybe I might be saying the same thing. It's just like he saves his dad, but it's not even a whole. He knows something is lingering. It's like he saves his dad, and he thinks it's all good, but then maybe within like the last second, or maybe like an end credit scene where it's just like, oh, there's something lingering in the background, like maybe we start to see some glitches where they're not supposed to be. It's just like, in a way, it's an ending. Like if you really wanted to jump off here, you can jump off, but then at the same time also you have like the thread of a potential story that's coming after that. Like I would like that. Again, that's why again I'm gonna be consistent. Like I
Uh, but it makes sense to me because like when I heard that Bob was gonna be the main villain of the movie, in hindsight, like the first 20 minutes, not after the Gwen Stacy prologue, which is like 20 minutes of its own, is just like an extended like 20-minute fight scene between Miles and the Spot. And like this is going on for a little long, don't you think? And like given that the movie doesn't really, wrap that up or like bring that back in any kind of way, really, like, okay, it makes sense that they want like at least have a large set piece between the two
Hmm.
characters. Because like, if they were gonna have like a fight near the end, maybe the first fight in the beginning would have been a little bit shorter, a little more goofy. But no, it goes on for a long time. There's like a little intermission of the fight when he goes to the parent teacher conference, and then he goes back to the fight, and like it makes sense. I guess they didn't want people to feel like cheated, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that this is gonna make a good two double feature.
Yeah.
I can watch Reloaded as its own film. I can watch Empire Strikes Back as its own film. I can watch well, I can't really watch the Two Towers as its own film, but that's because that was written as one book. But there's so many part twos, that I can watch at their own films. This one, you need to watch the next one after it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but I do kind of want to like shift it a little bit because despite that, I feel like there's a lot of great things that
There's a
they
lot of great
did.
things. I love it. I
Yeah.
actually love this movie, but like, oh God, I feel like I ate only half a meal.
Well, let's talk about the good things then.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about that because first of all, I like that we're starting off and Miles is he has to deal with the whole struggle just like balancing his family and being Spider-Man. I think that was handled like very well. I thought the chemistry with him and Gwen was pretty fucking solid. One of my main worries was, okay, we have a bunch of different Spider-Men. Okay, is this gonna be like a No Way Home situation where the multiversal aspect of it is like pulling away? No, it's like it's established. The multiple Spider-Men are there, but it's not like a main. It's not like the main drawing point of the movie like No Way Home was. It's like they were utilized and then they were they were kind of like taken off the board. I enjoyed that. I really like Miguel O'Hara's character. I liked how I didn't really know at first if I could trust him, and I still really don't know if I can trust him. But I liked that whole entire thing. There was something else that I really enjoyed. Oh, I don't know if you guys caught this, but I feel like there was a lot of like solid meta commentary about the state of Miles in the eyes of just like the fandom, just like the
Yes,
comments about like
that was intentional.
Yeah,
it was just
I
like
really like
They
that
did a
too.
whole interview about that.
yeah, it's just like, oh, you were never supposed to be Spider-Man, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, motherfucker, how come he wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man, but you got all these other motherfucking Spider-Man right here, and no one's saying jack shit about them. So I really do like that. I feel like this was I always give shit to creatives when they, throw discourse and shit or topics into, these movies or these comic books, but I feel like this was handled in a way with grace, where it's just like, oh, okay, like you're addressing it, but it's not as a way to just like where it's just like so blatant. Like I really enjoyed that, and
I wish it was a little bit less blatant though. Like it's already, I think, nuanced and subtle enough. But then you have like a canon event. Like, come on, man. Like we already have. There's been like a bunch of time travel movies already that have terms for this. Fixed point,
mhm.
an absolute point, a nexus point, a bunch of different terms
Mm,
already. But a canon event, like, okay, we get it. You're based off a comic book. Okay,
yeah,
we get it. You don't have to be that forward about it. It sounds silly. A canon event. I hate that shit. Now people
yeah,
are using it like, oh man, people are using. People are talking about Loki. Like when I was saying, like, oh my god, Loki's gonna go around messing up canon events in season 2. I want to put a gun in my fucking mouth. I'm sorry. I hate that shit. I hate when people. I hate that. No, come on. We already have terms for this in science fiction. You don't have to like
yeah.
make something up that's silly like this.
Wait, also, actually, since these comments, kind of do relate, so let's answer Tevye's. How do you feel about Baby Mayday Parker in this movie? Because I was so happy to see Mayday Parker in this movie. What do you guys think?
I thought she was cute.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweet moment, cute kid. I mean, like, yeah, the elephant in the room. Everybody talking about Mayday. Like, they're showing what the comics are just refusing to do at the moment.
Yeah,
Let Peter grow, let Peter have a family and stuff. So yeah, it's great. That's all I got. I'm fine. Like I've always liked that dynamic for Peter, but I'm not one of the ones with pitchforks out about Amazing Spider-Man every month. Also, though, so
yeah.
it's
I
fine. It was nice.
honestly, I this is one of the moments where I'm so happy I'm removed from Spider-Man versus like other franchises where or comic books where I'm more deeply involved in.
Hmm.
Like, bro, I literally watched not Amazing Spider-Man. What is it? The first Spider-Verse movie, and this is a Peter Parker. He fucked up when it came to Mary Jane. He fucked up. He had to deal with that, and then here it's nice character development, and it sucks because it sounds like you motherfuckers reading the comic books, y'all ain't getting none of that. So it was
Hmm.
nice for me being removed from the whole thing to just see that. For me, this is natural. This is a natural next step. He's very happy with Mary Jane. I like the dynamic with him and the kid. I know people are giving him shit about having the kid around. No, man, it's fun. You're not supposed to take it seriously. Like I'm excited to see more of her. She was cute. That's my whole thing there. But yeah, I think she was a nice touch to the movie. And it's good to see that, like Peter, he even looks like more of a dad. Like, bro, he had the fucking coat on. You don't need the coat, but it's a
Yeah,
nice touch.
bruh. Not just that, the baby carrier, dog.
Yeah.
Like that shit. Like it was like, I know I'm not as excited about it as everybody else, but it's adorable, bro. Like, it's nice seeing Peter in that element.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that. Also, I don't know. Obviously, if you have anything, just to answer Tevia's question, but yeah, how'd you feel about Baby Mayday, man?
I mean, no, it was fine. I enjoyed like the touch. Again, a lot of these like a lot of these other Spider Verse characters, other than Miguel and Gwen, are very thin, very
Mm,
faint. Like they're fun, they're good gags, and I think that there's a good enough focus and character work on Miguel, Gwen, and Miles already that you don't need to have all these people around.
mm,
So maybe they'll get more in the next movie, but it's very thin for them so far. The only one
yeah.
that stood out, other than Spider Punk, again, very thin role, is Spider Bite, because I think that she and Miles had so much chemistry in like the 5 seconds they talked to each other
Mm,
more than Gwen. I hate someone who loves romantic movies. I hate when stories feel like they're pushing characters together, and I feel like these movies have really tried hard to push Miles and Gwen together in a way that just doesn't feel natural or like they have any chemistry. And it's like it's painful, like it's nails on chalkboard to me. But like
mhm.
like the little kind of little back and forth kind of flirtiness, I want to say between Miles and Spider Bite, I think was like really cute.
Yeah.
And like okay, that's nice. It felt natural, um, rather than him like really like being trying to really skeeve up on Gwen a lot, like a ducky, 80s Pretty in Pink reference there, which I hate. I hate like I hate that shit. Come on.
You know what? I think that's why I think they're playing to that commentary also though, because it's like I think then if they weren't, then why introduce like Spider-Man and have that whole thing? Because again, like in the beginning of the movie, there was that comment about, oh, whenever Gwen falls for a Spider-Man or whenever this happens or this tries to happen, it doesn't work out well. And again, I don't think Miles really understood that at first, but then when you start to see him, kind of latch on to, Spider Bite, I think that's kind of like another lane for them as well. So it's kind of like I think we'll get to a point where, he's going to have to make a decision. And, obviously people would think he's going to go for Gwen, but I think I can see something happening there with Spider-Bat. Like I was a little worried at first about how they're going to make this work because it's somebody else in the mix, but I don't know, I like it. He has two lanes and they're teasing the other lane, but we still have this main lane here. So I really do appreciate that. And I think they are speaking to that as well. A shout out to Dr. Umar, because Dr. Umar not happy, bro. Umar not happy. He not happy.
Which is dumb because Miles is the product of a swirl himself, bro.
Yep.
Like,
Are we
did
really, are
y'all
we, are we
forget?
really giving Bendis, credit for Miles? I mean, let's be honest.
No, I'm just talking about just in the movie itself. Are we forgetting like
Oh,
Rio?
I forgot that
That
he
is,
existed.
but nah, but fuck it. Back to the character stuff. Dog Spider Punk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna hate this
Merlo.
man, bro.
Merlo, yeah, we got you, Merlo.
I enjoyed him, but I think that he is a very flat character. Like we get it, he's there to be like kind of like the foil to Miles, like
Right.
older,
Exactly.
cooler, hipper. And people are like, he's not that great, as like he doesn't have much nuance. I
Yeah.
like when I like dudes rock characters. Like, yeah, that guy, he's kind of bro, he's based, that kind of dude. Like, yeah, he got your back. But like other than that, he's a nothing character.
Yeah.
Were they
Like,
implying
cause
that Gwen was seeing him also? Did I
Yes.
am I
yeah,
reading
And
into that?
again,
Okay.
that's what
they
Amy
have more chemistry as
Pascal,
well.
producer, she was saying, hey, it was gonna be kind of a triangle. Miles, Gwen, and Hobie. It actually ends up kind of somewhat being a square, and like watching Miles and Gwen get jealous of each other with these other people. Like, yeah, because like you say, they talked about how she left her toothbrush in his universe, and
Hmm.
like the chucks. I think somewhere in there, like the chucks are
Yeah.
his, or
His
he got the chucks for her, or something like that.
Chuck's are
And
his, yeah.
yeah, I'm just glad that they finally gave her the Chuck Taylors, bro. Like ballerina shoes. Come on, dog.
Oh, that's like
Yeah.
cool.
And then, but like, and the whole time Miles get jealous. Like, he like, when Gwen's first in 1610, he's like, wait a minute, hold up, who's Hobby? And then she kind of deflects. And then when they get to the lobby and he meets Spider Bite hologram, and yeah, they kind of giving each other the eyes, and Gwen's webbing him up and dragging him off. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. That like the two of them, like, Gwen's trying to avoid getting into it with Miles, because like you say, in every universe Gwen Stacy
Yep.
falls for Spider-Man and it doesn't end well. But they're both clearly jealous of each other with these other people. I thought that was cool. But and I thought I was gonna hate Hubby because of that, because I do push the Miles and Gwen agenda, but my man ended up being the most solid person in the film, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he teaches Miles how to disrupt the force fields and shit. Then he leaves Gwen his multiverse watch doohickey.
Hmm.
Like, he's like, nah, I ain't with all this. I'm out.
Yep.
Y'all
Y'all good.
y'all on this boy's head, and all he trying to do is save his pops. Like, nah, I'm not with that. Like, and then he's the only Spider person from Jump who's like, you know what, nah. You got other people kind of questioning it, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, or hey, go easy, Miguel. I'll be like, nah, bro, y'all foul. I'm gone. Um,
It kind of makes all the other Spider people look like evil bastards.
Yeah.
to a certain extent,
But
like, you
again,
got
I
Gwen,
don't mind that, because like I think people are trying way too hard to be like, oh, but Spectacular Spider-Man would never do that. Like, it's not Spectacular Spider-Man. It's Spectacular Spider-Man
Yeah.
in this story. And
right?
I hate people like, okay, but how does this fit into like what the MCU is doing? Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
This is
yeah.
its
Yo.
own story.
That was the one thing I was like, not so much seeing Donald Glover show up as Prowler, but when they started doing the multiverse tree and the branches, I'm like, oh, come on, bro. Like, y'all already had a way of establishing this. I like, because somebody was saying, oh, Lord and Miller should go over to the MCU and do the live action version of Miles. No, Kevin Feige needs to keep his grubby paws off of these people
Yes.
and let them cook over here and do what they're doing over at Sony. I'm glad they got a multi-year exclusive deal, so this won't happen anytime soon, but it never needs to happen.
They should do the Sinister
Um,
Six movie.
I'm gonna be honest
I,
also.
I yeah, I can see that.
I'm gonna be honest. I like the fact that it was just briefly mentioned and then never, and then that's it. We
Yeah.
touched on it. We realized that this was a thing. We realized, No Way Home, kind of has a role to play in this movie. But after that, no, we leave it alone. We're doing our own
I
thing,
hate
because that
you.
was my biggest concern.
Hmm.
Like people are like, oh, so Into the Spider-Verse retroactively makes Vulture showing him Morbius make sense. But like, what do you mean? It never need to make sense, because No Way Home doesn't make sense. Okay, like Doctor Strange's spell is not like this perfectly logical spell that works. Like, no, it's nonsense. If you look at what
Hmm.
it's supposed to do, it's legitimately nonsense. So people are like, oh, but Vulture doesn't make sense. Like, who gives a fuck? Okay, it's a
I
story.
don't. I wasn't even paying. See, the way that they handled this shit, I didn't even give a fuck about. MCU stuff was like the last thing on my mind. And also I do
Right.
like that random Venom cameo, like when the spot popped up in the
Yeah,
Venom
the
first. I was
convenience
like,
store
that
lady.
was
Yeah,
cool.
that was nice.
That was nice. But then again, it was very quick. we established that, hey, there's some interconnectivity here, but that's it. We don't need to touch on that as well. And I like the Donald Glover cameo. I liked seeing the Insomniac Spider-Man suit. Like again, this I I am not the biggest fan of multiversal stuff, but I like it when it's done well. Again, these we had these nods to the MCU and all that, but it was very short, very brief. We had all these different Spider-Men, but they weren't overbearing. If
It
anything, they were
shows
more
that
in
you
the
can do a
background.
multiverse story and still keep it self-contained, bro. Like
Exactly.
it doesn't have to be a multiverse story, but hey, here's 50 other things you need to know. Like,
Hmm.
no, bro, we can have all these other spider people, all these other Spider-Men, Spider-Women, Spider Cat, Spider T-Rex. You can have a live action Prowler show up, but you don't need to know anything else from
Yeah,
30 other movies, guys.
what works great is because it's about it understands that the character is a pop culture icon, so we don't need to know more than we already know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I will say that people are still like really dumb about what this movie is saying, because like I hear people like, "Oh man, this makes Aunt May's death even more like emotional from No Way Home." Like, no, it makes her death even more stupid because like Aunt May's death is like the Uncle Ben moment, you know. But then, what was Uncle Ben's death?
Thank you.
Mm,
Thank you.
People
mm.
are saying, "Well, like
Like, brother,
Aunt May has died before, so just Aunt May death." But Aunt May has the with great responsibility line. So which one is it, huh? Which one fucking
right.
is it? Is Uncle Ben alive?
Because
My theory has always been that Uncle Ben's alive.
I
it'd
think
be
so
better
too.
than what they did in the MCU. But see, everybody is acting like now, oh, what's all with this retroactive No Way Home hate? No Way Home was never good.
It was never
Like
good.
the
It was
second half
shit.
of that movie is a much deserves to be in a movie with a much
The
better
last
first
30 minutes
half.
of that movie. The last 30 minutes.
Mm.
Let's be honest. Second half, that's way
Okay,
too far.
even I give it a little more grace. Like I say, second half. But yes, the best part of that movie is the final half hour. But everybody like, oh, this retroactive No Way Home. Hey, like I was kind of getting into it with somebody. I'm like, hey man, go to my page and search up the words No Way Home. Like I have been very consistent about this movie from jump. It was always a 50-50 chance of whether or not this movie was going to be good.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, it landed on the 50% chance where it was going to be bad. Like it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
It's I
I
can
think
see it's go ahead.
For me, No Way Home, the only reason why I like it is because I think all three Spider-Men, like I feel like the chemistry between them was pretty solid. I think that was for just seeing them on screen was fun. But as for the
Last half
story,
of the movie.
yeah, I was just like, as for the story, cool. Like I love seeing three characters that maybe shouldn't have worked well together worked well, and it was really just like three homies just getting together. I love that shit. But as for the movie itself, well, one, it's hard for me to have a solid opinion on No Way Home because one, I seen it once, and two, I'm not buying it again. So, well, actually, I'm not gonna buy it because I can't get it on streaming. So yeah, but for what I saw the first time, I just enjoyed the chemistry, dog. Like, there's nothing really from the story that makes me feel like, okay, I want to watch it again. And if anything, it left me feeling a little bit hollow about just like where Spider-Man landed. That's the most thing about No Way Home. Every time I think about No Way Home, it's just like, what can you do here? Because you put him in a very weird spot. Like, uh, versus here, it's just like, okay, we did multiversal stuff. We had cameos. It was handled very well with grace. And, yes, me and Elvis agree it's not really an ending, but still, I feel a lot better about it than I felt about No Way Home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for the second half of this.
Yeah,
But let's talk about Spider-Man India because that's also a point where I think people are being really stupid about it.
let's talk
Um,
about what is the controversy about that.
well, not controversy, but people are saying like, "Oh man, it's only Spider-Man without any depression." And I wonder why he doesn't have depression. Like it's not like it's a plot point about why he doesn't have depression, right?
Right? Like,
Like,
okay,
Mm,
I didn't even know that was an argument, but
no,
yeah, me
as
neither.
soon as
but
you
like
said it, I'm like,
But like
yeah,
the
it's a
whole
reason why
reason,
he doesn't.
yeah, yeah, because he didn't go through like the death of Gwen Stacy yet. Which I gotta say that's pretty fun. It's a pretty bold move that he was gonna go through both of them at the same time. Both he's gonna lose Gwen Stacy and Gwen Stacy's dad in like the same moment. And I said like that's he was gonna get a double heaping of depression. He would have been
Mhm.
and so I think that's really fun and I'm glad to see him on the team.
Yes.
But does that mean he's never gonna meet his Mary Jane?
Oh.
See, this is what happens when you break canon events.
Or dad
Huh?
mean like it can be a Indian Paul?
Oh God, no.
Huh.
'Cause, like yeah, I guess that means like he never meets Mary Jane.
I mean, Mary Jane's always said, she was the second choice, which, if people tend to ignore, they think she's Spider-Man's one true love. Like, not really, not really. If Gwen hadn't been, yeeted off the what was that, the Brooklyn Bridge? Yeah, Brooklyn Bridge. Spider-Man's history is very much different. So that could be an interesting thing to play with Spider-Man India.
Yeah. Again, I don't have too much knowledge of him, but yeah, I'm sure. Sure. That's why I think
Oh,
sure.
also, there's also been like this complaint about the movie being like, oh, why are they saying that that Miles has never lost anyone? Like that's not what they're saying. He just doesn't want to lose his dad. It's not like
Right.
he lost. Don't they remember that he lost his uncle? The movie remembers. The movie brings it up like 5 different times.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so people are just being really dumb, like very
It makes the
salty.
argument that he hasn't lost the right person yet.
No, or not. It makes the argument that he hasn't lost the same amount of people.
Right.
Like he has to lose these specific people, and like Miles just doesn't want to lose anybody. So like it's not like his person being like better than the other one, or his one being like the key, which is why he No Way Home because like oh he wasn't Spider-Man until he lost Aunt May because Aunt May is his Uncle Ben that who ask much fucking questions that movie.
Right.
Um,
Um,
he just don't want to lose his
I
dad.
do think it's interesting how in different, it's never set who Miles loses. It's always different. Like in the Ultimate Comics, Miles loses his mom.
Yeah,
Um, the game, it's his dad. It's his dad. The films, it's his uncle, obviously. And then in current continuity, he's got mom, dad, both around. Uncle is around too. So it's a good way to, continue to differentiate his story from the other Spider-Man, and other Peter Parkers. Like, hey, what if I can save these people who are the most important to me? They influence everything that I am, everything that I do. What if I don't have to lose any of them? What kind of Spider-Man could I then
Mm,
become? If it, and that's one thing that I think the film does well. Hey, like, what if we don't have to have all of this tragedy rooted in our creation, in a sense? Like, could we potentially be better heroes on the other side of that? Um, I think Gwen's probably going to be the answer more so with that because, as we saw, her dad quit the force, so that kind
yeah.
of disrupts his timeline of events of how his life is supposed to go and how it's supposed to affect Gwen in this universe, I should say, because in the books, Gwen, she saved her dad from dying, so it's not really huge of a deal as it's being made here.
yeah. Which why I didn't.
But
Which again, people always like oh, see, the movie has an ending because Gwen is like the co-lead, so her story wrap. It doesn't really wrap up. Her story doesn't
No.
like exactly. So I don't trust that
like,
either.
like her the the natural endpoint of her story, like I can see it as far as yeah, I would say she has more of a resolution than an end, right? Her and her father come to a point of
Like
agreement and understanding.
it's kind of like we know
But
what. Let's table this for later when we can talk.
yeah,
Yeah.
And like
but
that's
but
that's
the
even more faint and very limp and like
yeah,
this movie-
but the end of her story is, on the other side of, hey, her getting the team together and they go get Miles from Universe 42, which is, you know, I do wonder how they're gonna play out some of those dynamics with the old team and new team. And like you said, you got this whole, because the international footage for this film, the trailers and stuff, have kind of given it away of what the next film is going to be. in a way that the domestic stuff hasn't. It's going to be a war between the two factions of spider people, and so and they're calling it the Spider War. So I guess that's your natural input. I just thought about it, and I don't know why I didn't think about it earlier to taking it out to this extent. You remember? I know Elvis, you're slightly younger than us, but you should still have been around during that time. Y'all remember 90s cartoons in the mornings, early 2000s? You'd
Yeah.
have a big event, and the to be continued. Obviously, you didn't have to wait 9 months. You come back next week, and they give you that story, but they give you that to be continued, and then you spend the whole week speculating on what's going
Yep.
to happen and stuff. That's what this reminds me of, even more so now that I go back thinking about her setting up the team, like she's made her own strike force basically, and they have to go up against Miguel's much. They're massively outnumbered. So, okay, now I'm going to start speculating for the next film. That's in my own time. That's just going to give me a lot to think about. But I'm rambling. Y'all go on.
Yeah. No. I like where you're going. I like where you're going. Because I too remember those to be continued, man. I remember those. Um,
If they were really ballsy, they release it like in December. Because
yo.
like
Hey, don't be surprised if that
the,
happens,
the,
bro.
the
Like,
wait between Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Resolutions and Revolutions was like 7 months.
yeah,
So like you guys got time, bro.
I mean,
Push
damn.
it up.
because they've said they're way further along on the animation than what a lot of people expect. So I
Really?
don't discount that. Yes, because they talked
Yo.
about, they said we've been working on this for 4.5 years, and it was originally, this was just going to be one film. They're like, we had so much done already, and Sony came to like, hey, what if we make this two films, and they had to find a place to end it. So I wouldn't be surprised if you could see oh, hey, yeah, they do the thing where it's like they put out a statement acting like we're gonna delay it. You know how like video games do now? They put up the picture with the graphic and like, hey, we're
Yeah.
sorry to our fans, blah blah blah, but we're having to push this back a year. They do that, but like, hey, exciting news, everybody. This film we told you was coming out in March of 2024. Hey, yeah, we're gonna put this out Christmas week for you guys. Enjoy. Like,
Bro.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Bro. I honestly, because I feel like the wait's gonna kill it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like you left everybody just like, oh, what the hell is gonna happen? And then you gotta wait like almost a year, bro. I think that might be the smarter move, especially since this movie is doing ridiculously well right now.
Yeah,
So why not? Why
I
not?
think
Like
the smart play to me would be, okay, you give it like 90 days in the theater, so that puts you at like end of September, going into October. Put out the Blu-ray, October streaming, whatever, and then like maybe not December, maybe January. Like, hey,
yeah, okay.
boom, here's the sequel.
And I feel like it's because this is like a two-parter. I feel like it makes a little bit more sense because you don't have to wait as long. And then
Hmm.
I feel like after that movie, okay, fine. Since that's going to be another, I guess you can say another portion, then we can wait a little bit longer for that next installment. But I feel like it's so crucial right now, specifically for the story, to just like, hey, bro, let's put it out here. Let's wait a couple months versus almost a year and then we put it out. So I think it's just strategically it's better also. And yeah, I think that way is better. And who knows, man? Who knows? Because I feel like motherfuckers is gonna I feel like we're gonna see a repeat and then more of the first movie where this movie is just racking up the box office, man. I see
Hmm.
it. So it feels like they're gonna have remember how they were doing that whole thing about what about John Wick? Are we gonna do a next one? Immediately, like a week or two after, because that movie was doing so good, now they have to start talking about John Wick 5. And originally, I
Yes,
don't even think
they have
that
to
was part of
change
the
up their
plan.
plans completely, because it's like, 4 was gonna be the last one, and then you see like how insanely well 4 is done. It's like, maybe we need to come back to this. Like, we can do this. We can do the spin-offs to, kind of hold everybody's attention and whatnot while we figure out what this fifth one is going to be. But yeah, we'll come back. We'll do another couple of films maybe, which honestly, that's kind of the smart way to do this with Spider-Verse, right? They've already told you they have spin-offs in development. So okay. So you push this one up a little bit. The next one I should say. You push that one up a little bit. Then you get into the Spider Women spinoff. You get into the
Yeah.
Spider-Man Noir because he's supposed to be getting a series. I think it's going to be on Amazon. You do that, and now you're buying yourself time as to okay, what's the next installment of the Spider Verse going to be? Because not that they've never come out and said that they had just a three movie plan for this because they've talked about oh we can do so much with this franchise. I said like, there's no way Sony stops at just three movies and a
No
couple of
way.
spinoff shows. There's no way. Like, this is the next big thing for them.
Yeah.
Like, and especially now that they're finding ways to tie in Venom as well. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't see this stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, that's true. So hey, they got something good. Be strategic about it, and we couldn't. Yeah, we couldn't move on, man. Because I'm excited. I'll be the first to say it, man. I gave Miles Morales, a lot of shit in the beginning, but after watching what is it?
Let's answer Merlot's question there.
Okay, then we couldn't do that. Okay, cool. What it is was Prowler voiced by Shamik Moore? No,
No,
Miles was.
Yeah,
it was Jarrell Jerome.
Yeah, Miles was voiced by Shamik.
No,
Um,
yeah, and it's okay. This is so weird. The second time, right, that they done an evil Miles Morales that was a little bit more Latino, and I gotta say, Marvel's pretty fucking
yeah.
racist.
That's the one thing I
Second
did
time,
see. I was
second
like,
time.
I don't know about it. The one thing I will say, the kind of I guess maybe they don't want to go too deep into that. They gave him they gave him the Takashi 69 braids, bro.
oh yeah, I thought it
So
was
it's
the
like,
only one I
okay,
noticed.
everybody hates this dude. So maybe the Latinos won't get mad at us for even though he has more Latino features, they won't get mad at us since everybody hates this guy. He's a rat, nobody likes him. So we'll make him look like that guy. I was like, I don't know about that one. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed, burst out laughing when I saw his mask come off. I was like, yo, no, they didn't, bro.
Wait. Is it just maybe as I did drink when I was watching this movie? I could have sworn I seen a face tat, or am I tripping? I feel like I saw a face tat, or maybe
I
I don't
don't
know.
think so, but now I'm curious, so now I'm about to go look. I'll probably, like I
Yeah,
say, my plans to see it for a third time they failed, so I'll probably go one day this week. Now I'm definitely gonna be looking out for that.
yeah, because I was just like, bro, I know this guy, and it's not Miles.
Right.
But yeah, that's just to answer your question. But yeah, it is getting a little late, but I did want to
Yeah,
say this also. Yeah, I gave Miles Morales, like a lot of shit. But it's clear now that Sony and Marvel, they know that they got something good. Now me and AJ do the sales stream. Obviously, there's something good there, and even with the new run, you know, they got something special here. I feel like they finally kind of got they finally did it. They finally put in the work and
Yeah.
decided, okay, let's put a little bit more work into the creative team and let's do
Because
something special.
Ahmed's run, don't even know, Ahmed's run was selling well and it tapered off toward the end. But I know a lot of people get mad, and he kind of was himself. Like they were gonna relaunch the Miles book with a new writer. Hey man, between the hype from the film, what
Mm-hmm.
Cody, I think his last name is Zegler. I'm probably butchering it. Forgive me if you hear this, but yeah, I think they just had it right on it because Miles, he's when you mentioned it, he was like, oh, he's a top 10 book. I was like, and I knew he had been selling well, but I was like, nah, no way. So and then I went and looked at the list. Like, yo, Miles is
Yeah.
a top 10 Marvel book right now. I think he's like the number
Yeah.
9 Marvel title selling. So I'm like, nah, yo, they got something special on their hands,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, keep on with it.
Yeah, but he's killing it in the comic books right now. The video games, like people really enjoy the video game Miles, and now we
Hmm.
got the movie. So it's just like, hey, and I'm not gonna dive too deep into that discourse, but hey, let's just keep it a fat stack. I think Miles right now is in a better space in like people who actually read comic books and actually,
Yeah,
you know, pay attention, I think he's in a much better space now than Peter Parker. And you
I
know,
mean, it's been that way for about 2 years, 2.5 years now.
yeah,
Like
and
Miles, his books have been written better. Like I said, Ahmed's run did fall off toward the end, but
it was still doing
yeah,
pretty
I mean,
well.
yeah. Well,
And I
after
really wish.
Spencer left that
Mhm.
Spider-Man book, it's been, I know we like to joke about people hate buying the current Amazing Spider-Man run, and we saying, yeah, it is people out here liking that run. Very much true, but it's also kind of like Batman. People are going to buy the main Batman title no
Exactly.
matter what. Because I read probably about the first 4 issues of that run. It's not horrible like people are making it out to be, but no, it's not one of the better Spider-Man runs that I've read. So you know, the truth is always somewhere in between. It's not the worst thing
Yeah.
ever, but it's not a good run either. So
Yeah.
yeah, Miles definitely has the better book.
And the better just like I don't know, just being well received in all these little places. And I feel like my dream for me honestly is like now I'm putting a little more respect on Miles's name, and I'm gonna buy the omnibus, and I'm probably gonna check out the couple issues of the current run. I would
Mhm.
love it where we can be in a position where both Miles and Peter are thriving. Like I think that would be the best case scenario, because it's like, hey, bro, like detractors, have been doing their best to, devalue this character, but nah, man, it's just like the proof is right there, bro. Like
Yeah,
they got something great. It's not just the black Latino just thrown in the Spider-Man. So just like this is clearly a character that they've spent time, you know, developing creatively, and it's
like
resonating with people. Yeah,
I'm surprised
it's
that they don't have an ongoing with the two of them together in it right now. That seems like the biggest bag that Marvel is missing out on, bro.
yeah. So we'll see. I would like that. I would like it where if all their both their series were just firing off on all cylinders. And who knows, man? It's gonna take some editorial changes or whatever. But
Hmm.
I want both to thrive. I'm always here for just well written characters. He's made a fan out of me. I don't know if I'll really care to go check out anything really Peter Parker as of late, but I will check out the Miles run. I can't wait for the omnibus. And yeah, man, it's good to see, you know, it's good to see a character of color thrive the way he's thriving right now. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts about Spider Verse. Like, what are you hoping for the next movie? Because I know it's getting a little late. But if not, we can wrap it up here.
Nothing too much. Just the next one. I it's not even a hope. It was almost kind of a nitpick. There was a song on the soundtrack led me to believe that Silk was gonna be in this one, and
Oh,
yeah, so I was like, huh, that's interesting because she's gonna be in the spinoff. Like I told you, they're gonna be doing a Spider Verse film with three different Spider Women, Gwen, Silk, and supposed to be Jess. And like I said, I saw that on the album, so then I was like, "Hey, is she gonna be in this?" And we just hadn't seen her in the trailer yet, but she didn't. So it's not something I have to see. It's not that it's going to make me disappointed in any of these films, but I don't know. I guess thought that was a red herring, and I guess they threw me for a loop a little bit. So I'd like to see her show up, especially since it seems like their version of Jessica Drew, like they don't know what they want to do with her.
hmm.
Like they gave her webbing, just doesn't have webs, and then they gave her organic webbing, and I'm like, that's Silk's thing, but it was confusing. Um, and then like you said, make her pregnant. That's 616 is Jess's thing, and her costume was Jess's old costume. It was very confusing. Like I don't think they
Okay.
knew what they wanted to do with that character. They kind of mashed up a bunch of different things. So um, yeah, they got to get their Spider Woman situation worked out before the spin-off film. That's the only thing, but there's nothing that just has to be in the next film, I guess. Just clean that up a bit for me. That's all I
Yeah.
ask.
Okay. How about you, Elvis? Any like final
Nope.
thoughts for the movie?
Nope. It's already
None.
late. No.
No. Okay. All right, yeah. But yeah, this was a great fucking episode. Thank you guys as always, for coming through. And yeah,
No
we could
problem.
start with the birthday boy. Yeah, brother, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Twitter at THC_SNICKMAN, and also my YouTube channel, Unsourced Wall Radio, where I do unboxings and sometimes do little live streams about stuff I've watched recently.
All right. AJ, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, as always, you can find me at Mr. underscore Mitchell underscore the number two underscore the letter U. Giving hot takes about all of this stuff. You can find me there, same bat time, same bat channel.
All right. And as always, you can find me on, Twitter, Roliver Queen underscore. You already y'all know the deal. Comic books, booze, pretty feet, as always. And yeah, please, as always, check out the channel. I'm back. Yeah, I had to take some time off because I went to Vegas, had a great time. But yeah, I do have something coming this week for sure. I have been staying up till 3 o'clock most nights getting the specific video done. It will come out this week by any means necessary. It's coming out. And I got some stuff planned on top of that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Me and AJ will probably be back in the next couple of days because it is nearing that time where we get the top 200 list, and we're gonna see how much that Spider-Man book is selling in a
I mean,
couple of
it's
days.
already gone to second printing, bro. We know it's
So
sold.
we'll see, but we gotta present the numbers to the people because they think we
I
bullshit.
hear you.
But yeah, so look out for that. And yeah, we'll be back hopefully next week, or if not, the week after. But yeah, guys, it's the Comics Code Authority, Elvis and AJ. As always, I appreciate y'all. Elvis, once again, happy birthday. And
Yes, happy
y'all,
birthday.
we are out.